All right, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified every time a new video goes up on SouFLoTV. As you know, we've been following this whole Jovenel Moise assassination story, and that's how we do when we follow the stories through. We follow it from the beginning to the end. They are now rounding up suspects. This is the second suspect that has been listed by all news media houses across the world as important people in the assassination plot of Jovenel Moise, who were found in Jamaica. Not just, but I will give you the details of how they were found, right? So we have two so far. Suspect in killing of Haitian president arrested by authorities. The first one was Mario Antonio Palacios, suspect member of the group involved in the assassination of Haiti's president. Jovenel Moise had been arrested by authorities after he was detained while transiting through Panama following his deportation from Jamaica to Colombia. Boom. Y'all wondered what happened to him, right? Because they were first saying the U.S. is going to come get him, or he needs to be extradited to Haiti, or Colombia said they wanted him, and we were wondering where he was going to go and why so many people wanted him. This is the Haitian president that was assassinated, so most naturally, Haiti's law enforcement should have wanted him. Anyways, this is while he was deported. I had no idea that this is how he had left Jamaica. He was detained while transitioning through Panama from Jamaica following his deportation from Jamaica to Colombia. So they deported him from Jamaica to Colombia, and then they found him traveling through Panama. So that means when they deported him to Colombia, he got away, right? Okay, Mario Antonio Palacios, 43 years old, a former member of the Colombian military, and he's accused by Haitian authorities of being part of the mercenary group that tortured and killed Moise and wounded Jovenel Moise's wife, Martine Moise, during this attack on the president's private home, as y'all remember, in July of 2021, right? So Palacios had admitted in the media, listen to this part, he is a key person, part of the Colombian military. This guy is very skilled in combat. He's very skilled in guerrilla warfare. Go do the studies for yourself and you will find out that a lot of the world's soldiers go to Colombia to train with the Colombian military in guerrilla warfare tactics, etc., etc. And this man was highly trained in that, and he's accused of being a part of the mercenary group that tortured and killed Jovenel Moise. Word is he was the leader of the group. He orchestrated, like when military soldiers move on the ground in groups, they are guided by a certain individual of a higher rank, someone who is trained higher and who oversees the plan. This was his purpose on this mission. Okay, so during the attack, the president was killed. Palacios has admitted in the media interview to being in Jovenel Moise's bedroom during the time he was being assaulted at the time when he died. But he has denied being involved in actually killing him. That makes no damn sense. Y'all ran up in this man's house. You were in his room when he died. You admit to being there through the torture. If you don't remember, Jovenel Moise's one of his eye was dug out from his head. We saw the pictures because people had the pictures passing them around on WhatsApp, and it ended up in our chat room. One of his eyes was dug out. He was beaten severely, and of course, multiple gunshot wounds. He was stripped down and all this other stuff. It paints a picture of a hell of a torture session that took time. He entered Jamaica illegally, this man, and he was detained and in prison after his arrest in October in Jamaica, while the courts considered an application from Haiti for his extradition because Haiti had wanted him first. Jamaica instead ordered his deportation to Colombia. Why did Jamaica not honor the Haitian law enforcement by sending this guy to Haiti? Something for us to think about. Jamaica instead ordered his deportation to Colombia. But while he was transitioning to his country, or this is known, while he was transitioning to his home country through Panama, he was intercepted at the airport and he was put on a flight to the USA, which, like Haiti, has issued an Interpol red notice requesting his arrest. Wow. So all these people want this man, right? Palacios appeared in a federal court in Miami, which tells you that the U.S. government now has him in Miami on Tuesday afternoon, but he did not plea guilty or not guilty. He just did not plea at all. He is scheduled to appear in court again the 31st of January 2021 in Miami, Florida. Panamanian authorities have issued no public comment on the affair, but a person familiar with the matter in Panama confirmed that Palacios has been detained. A video that was shared with Reuters by the source, who declined to be identified, showed two immigration agents escorting him, whose face was not clearly shown, though what appeared to be Panama's airport. So, an official source quoted by the Colombian news site El Tiempo said that it seems very certain that Palacios will be sent to the United States because the legal process there was pushed forward urgently, and they have a plan already for him in the U.S. Anyhow, Palacios' detention in Panama and his arrest by U.S. authorities marks the latest twist in the saga of the investigation into Jovenel Moise's assassination. Who done it? Who was the key character in it? We've heard a couple of people position, but their position is still not the superior position. Who called this shot and why? There are theories out there. It was drugs, and he was stopping a lot of drugs from the cartel's drugs from moving through Haiti. I don't know if you guys know how the whole process is set up. So the drugs must move from South America through Haiti in order to get to the U.S. and other places around the world. Not just drugs. The route is used for guns, drugs, and human trafficking as well. So all this stuff must move through Haiti. To do that, some corruption is required in Haiti because it's an illegal activity, right? Okay, it is said that Jovenel Moise put a tight clamp down on that, and nothing was moving, and a lot of people were losing hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. So his assassination was brought forth into fruition to get him out of that position, to get someone else in there that will play ball game. And that's one of the biggest theories that are out there. Jamaican authorities ruled that Haiti's request for Palacios' extradition did not meet Jamaica's legal requirements. This request, as a matter of law, could not proceed, could not be processed, and was destined to fail. And this is what Paula Llewellyn, Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecution, said. Now, was Palacios actually a citizen of Panama? I mean, he came into Haiti and assassinated Haiti's prime minister. So this was, even if he was a citizen of another country and his birth country wanted him, the crime he committed was not committed on his birth country's soil. It was committed on Haitian soil. Therefore, Haiti should have had all rights to request him and have him. However, Jamaica decided not to send him to Haiti. And Paula Llewellyn said that Haiti's request for the extradition did not meet Jamaica's law requirements. It was destined to fail. Well, he ended up in the United States of America. According to reports, Palacios had not been named as a suspect in the murder, but was instead sought on a charge of armed robbery. And it appeared that at the end, so Haiti's paperwork did not name him as a source to the murder. Haiti's paperwork named him as an armed robbery person they were looking for. That is why they did not send him from Jamaica to Haiti. They sent him to face a more serious charge. But even then, it appeared at the weekend that the Colombians would be allowed to travel home after he was photographed shaking hands with the Colombian ambassador in Jamaica. This is fishy. It appears at the weekend that the Colombian would be allowed to travel home after he was photographed shaking hands with the Colombian ambassador in Jamaica. And Jamaica sent him to Colombia. Madness. So Palacio is believed to be the last of the alleged group of mercenaries to be detained. And in an interview given while he was still in hiding, he insisted, that he had no knowledge of who had killed Moise. I don't know who killed him. I say it from the heart, for my family, for my children. I told The Week, though he did admit that he entered Jovenel Moise's house. He admitted to entering the house. He admitted to being in the room while he was being tortured and when he was killed. But he still says, I don't know who killed him. And I say this on my family and for my children. Right. Now, according to reports that were prepared by the Haitian police that was leaked to various media outlets, Palacios, also known by his nickname of Floro, he's accused of being one of the instigators of Moise's assassination. He's accused of being one of the 26 Colombians and 2 Haitian Americans who made up a hit squad that stormed the president's private residence in the middle of the night, claiming to be part of a U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration operation. And that was the decoy that they used to throw everybody off. So we thought, and then the rumors started coming out that Jovenel Moise was selling drugs on a high level, and he had messed up somebody's drugs and they came to get him, right? So it painted him as a criminal instead of, or the DEA is here, we're coming to get you, Drug Enforcement Agency, because you're a drug dealer. And that was the decoy. Moise was shot a dozen times and had his eye gouged out during that assault. None of the surviving Colombians captured in Haiti have yet been put on trial, and the motivation behind the assassination remains unclear right now, with just a whole lot of controversy and a whole lot of rumors and claims going around. We move on to this other one, Jovenel Moise murder, ex-senator arrested in Jamaica. This is number 2. So now we're talking about a ex-senator. And he was placed on the most wanted list. And funny enough, he has dealings with Jamaica and was in Jamaica as well. Kind of makes you want to think like, what does Jamaica have to do with the assassination of the Haitian president? Was Jamaica or somebody in Jamaica a part of the plot, the plan to destabilize Haiti further, throw them into chaos, keep them in chaos, etc., etc.? You know, some people are out here saying this. Jamaica would never want to see Haiti prosper, because if Haiti does prosper, then it would cut Jamaica's billion-dollar tourism industry by a significant amount, because Haiti has black sand beaches and very beautiful topography, as in landscape and all this other stuff. So they would have to share the tourism, same weather and everything, if only they could fix up their infrastructure, etc. So it's in their best interest to keep Haiti destabilized. All that looks like to me is black people about to be fighting against black people, and to keep us in perpetual war against each other through these agendas. Now, Jamaican authorities have arrested a former Haitian senator Jamaican Authority has now arrested a former Haitian senator. And today I'm doing this voiceover. It's January 16th. This took place on January 15th, just yesterday, right? This is the former Haitian senator who is a prime suspect in the murder of the Haitian president, Jovenel Moise. John Joel Joseph. He was arrested on Friday. Jamaica Constabulary Force spokesman Dennis Brooks said, Mr. Moise was shot dead on July 7th of 2021 by gunmen who stormed his residence, and we know all of that already. So soon after, then National Police Chief Leon Charles said that Mr. Joseph supplied the weapons and he planned the meeting. Remember, we did a video and we covered that, and we actually found out who supplied Mr. Joseph, because Mr. Joseph didn't have all this money. He was supplied by investors, and we spoke about that on a previous video before, right? Mr. Brooks declined to comment on whether the arrest happening following a request by the FBI in the United States, which is also investigating the murder of Jovenel Moise. A 124-page, 124 pages Haitian police investigation report states that Mr. Joseph, this is the one that was found in Jamaica now, Mr. Joseph was instrumental in his fierce will to kill the president. And that was what was printed in the Miami Herald, a newspaper out of Miami, Florida, USA. Former Colombian military officer Mario Antonio Palacios, the one I just extensively spoke about, was also charged earlier this month in the United States of America as being a part of the plot. Now, while several arrests have been made in Haiti in connection with the killings, Mr. Palacios, he was the first person of anybody who's been arrested so far to be actually charged. So it seems like the U.S. is the only one that's charging anybody. Others are seen shaking hands with governors and then disappearing into the night, seen shaking hands with high politicians and then disappearing into the night. And then the U.S. is the only one that seems to be processing them through, charging them, looking forward to a court date where there will be a trial and then find them innocent or guilty. So there's no real progress going on in the investigation of Jovenel Moise's murder as far as who's getting caught and then who's getting prosecuted in a court of law. For those of you who want to know, so what's going on, this is a thorough breakdown of what is going on. Now, previous suspects that were detained were also former members of the Colombian military, many of whom were said to have been hired to provide security services in Haiti and were not told about a plan to kill the president. And this is their claim. Now, some of them have spoken. And again, on one of the previous videos we did following this, one of them said that up until a few days before, like 2 days before, they actually did the plan or carried through the execution of the president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise. That is when they found out that that's what they were going to be doing. And it changed from securing to capturing to executing that quickly. The orders were given and they were to follow the orders out. And these men were paid pretty well as well. They thought they were going away from home on a work assignment to do security work. And if you know, then you know that there are other places in the world that hire these guys to do security work because they are so highly trained and skilled in what they do. Okay, the investigation into the murder of Mr. Moise. Jovenel Moise was 53 years old at the time of his death. The investigation has been snail crawling slow so far. And it's been further set back by resignations of key officials. So there are key officials in place who decided to, you know what, I'm resigning. Instead of me filling out paperwork saying who was with what and giving you any kind of anything, I'll just resign. And that's what they've done. and a lot of them have resigned. So it's kind of brought this whole thing to a stall. The rise of violence in Haiti right now, a dire economic situation in the country. Things have gotten way worse since the passing of Jovenel Moise. Gangs have taken over, armed gangs have taken over. The kidnapping rate has gone up significantly, and the drugs is everywhere, and it's flowing again along with the guns and everything else. So exactly what was intended to happen is happening in Haiti as we speak. And yes, another one was found in Jamaica, and this one is John Joel Joseph, who is said to be the person who supplied the guns, who basically financed it. And Palacios is the other one who is said to be the one who controlled the mission militarily, and has admitted to being in the room while Jovenel Moise was being tortured, but cannot say who actually took his life. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Do you think that Jamaica has something to do with this? Why are so many of them found in Jamaica so far? And or what are your thoughts on them being prosecuted in the US versus being prosecuted in Haiti by Haitian law where the crime was actually committed? Talk up, and I'll catch you in the comment section and catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.